practices. So, wow, they're about health. But they're also about information. And I've lost, oh, there it is, records. They're about records. And they're pretty substantially about use. The American Medical Informatics Association Clinical Informatician Core Content for Clinical Informatics, 2009. Big clinical, big on information, big on health. Data. We haven't seen too much data so far. And I think particularly important in this arena, informaticians really deal with a lot with making decisions about medical care, and so knowledge and decisions are in here. Not users, but over here, needs. So still the sense of people who use information and how they need to be served. This is from a recent work on data science, and it's based on job descriptions. Information is there, but reasonably, when we're talking about data science, data is very large. Jobs are very large because these are job descriptions. There are many, many technology words. And service is here somewhere. I can't find it anymore. Maybe you can. But it's relatively small. Lower right. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, now we're in trouble. Yes. Okay. It was there. Thank you. Finally, user experience. A new phrasing, at least, of an information profession. A user experience professional is what this job description called it. And this comes from a particular job description that was used at the Sheridan Libraries at Hopkins. But you see that nothing. You see that it talks about user and experience quite a bit and about interaction, which is really what it's about. Mentions information a little bit. Doesn't mention data. And it does mention users in fairly large letters. Also user experience. But it has a quite different makeup than the ones we've seen before. So I think we're getting a little bit further away from the kind of library-based jobs and getting a hint of what kinds of things there will be in 2050 when we do this again. So I hope you've enjoyed that little adventure through some of the information professions, and that it will help you to remember that there are many information professions, that there will be many more in 2050, and that they will all need to be educated.
Table. The microphones work best if they're out of the holder. Our special instructions. Okay. Any questions? Remember, we have 2 microphones, one on either side of the room.
I just have a quick question for Mary Shute. I know she's leaving IMLS, but I'd like to know what she thinks IMLS will be or should be doing in 2050. We really want them to stick around, but I know that's a really tough one, but you know, this has made such a difference to our field.
Well, I guess first and foremost, I want it to still exist. I think that's clearly the strategic and agile view, and believe it or not, agile even for a federal agency, that I see our current leadership taking. There is not the potential for a partnership out there that we ignore. I referenced in my remarks the blurring of the boundaries in the past. The blurring of the boundaries still going on, but the boundaries are different. It's workforce development, it's early childhood education, it's partnerships with HHS, it's all of that sort of stuff. So I guess my vision is that IMLS helps lead the community by forming partnerships at the national level or global level, so that it lays the groundwork for partnerships at the state and local, consortium, regional level to address every problem that's out there. We want to be everybody's favorite partner, and that goes for IMLS, but I think it also goes for the library in whatever community it's in, whether it's a public library or an academic institution or a medical library. That's my little vision. I don't know that that's where they're going to go, but that's what I see happening. Thanks for the question, Joanne.
What about the relationship between library and museum?
Is that for me again?
Well, that's the way I do it. To the word that you didn't do a museum one, word. That might have been interesting.
Well, I'll make a quick comment and then I will pass this off. I see that relationship of libraries, museums, archives, that continuum still exists, especially as we talk about cultural heritage and connecting today's learner with people in the future as well as their ancestors. I think that's there. It's an absolute way of connecting in a very visceral way. As you look at the history, as you look at the art, all of those other ways of communicating. I think it's still there. Is it the thing that's getting the hottest publicity at the moment? Maybe not, because we're seeing a social service mission that, especially in today's economic times, is more pressing. But I don't think it's gone by any means.
Yeah, I think if we can see this filtering down to the educators and the educational offerings, we do have a course in cultural institutions, but there's a lot of choices. It's an elective and so forth, but we're trying to look at the commonalities among all of these different kinds of cultural institutions, and it could also be zoos and performing arts centers and just making these connections so that we start to prepare people who are really oriented towards this broader range of whether it's cultural institutions or different possibilities, different partnerships. I think that's so, so important to our future, because none of us, with the current economic situation and probably the future economic situation, are going to do things alone. So thinking we do have silos of our own, I think. Some of us, have been we think we've been libraries, especially say public libraries, and they're large enough and there's one in every community so they can be themselves on their own. But now they're really, I think everybody's reaching out, but we need to also prepare people for this, changed environment and changing.
And we're not done answering your question, because it's a great one. I think it's interesting to think, isn't it, about how museums have become to be thought of as information organizations. I think if you go back 38 years, they were thought of in a different way, and IMLS has had something to do with that transformation, as have the museums themselves. So perhaps the question for 2050 is, what are the other kinds of institutions that now exist that we will be thinking of as primarily information institutions?
Barbara, did you have a question?
Yeah, I noticed in Nancy's last wordle that the word group came up big. And